So apparently in Malaysia, there is a new regulation that just kickstarted only yesterday, which is saying that we are now not able to fly our drones without permit. Now this has come as shocking, but at the same time not really shocking news to the majority of us, because I've actually seen this coming since as early as 2023. With every seemingly passing year, it's because CAAM or Civil Aviation Act Malaysia has always been adamant about people flying drones needing permit. Just that the enforcement hasn't truly been there. But officially as of 2025 February, it seems as though things are starting to get serious. And I would like to also clarify that in the article, all drones below 20 kilos unmanned aircraft needs to be registered, not only video providers like myself, but people who are just owning a drone in their own homes trying to fly. It can be any model from being as small as the DJI Mini, or it can be as large as literally the DJI Mavic Pro series. Any types of drone below 20 kilos now needs the permit to fly. So, what do you actually need? To find out the answers, I've actually called the helpline from CAAM themselves, which is based in Putrajaya, to get some answers into why is this thing suddenly now kickstarting and not previous years. Again, I couldn't for the life of me reach them for the third time calling, so I have to resort to using what I know to let you know on what you need to know. So essentially, as a viewer of this, I think like you're viewing this as to what happens now, and I'll tell you what happens now. You need a permit and license to even fly this for your own wedding. Come on. Now, as ridiculous as it seems, it doesn't stop there. It actually needs to come in at a 250 ringgit per use per application just to fly a drone that you paid your money for. Now, the hypocrisy of this, it goes really in depth, because that means that in the future, if I have a phone on my camera, I now need 14 days prior to me filming my own child's birthday party or wedding. That doesn't quite ring a bell. But to deep dive in this video, let's look into the proper steps and what is to happen if you are just a regular person that's trying to fly a drone, or if you're like a drone service provider like myself. So to begin with, let's log into CAAM website and let's look into what other applications do they have. So technically, there are many applications of drones, some with agriculture, with pesticides and payloads, and you'll find yourself landing in this platform called the ATV. Now, when you click on the ATV, a 15-page long form will happen in front of your face, and this, ladies and gentlemen, will be your first deterrent to actually apply for a license to fly something you actually bought with your own cash. That's crazy, the times that we live in now. So essentially, what CAAM doing is they're trying to prohibit recreational use of drones in Malaysia. I would almost think that no one, aside from people like me who do this for a living, who get paid to fly our drones, will want to go through this long and tedious application form. So for those of you who are just generally owning a drone and wanting to fly on a vacation in Malaysia, in Kedah, you might be deterred from doing so. But I'll leave this section for a next part of this video. Today I want to talk about what are the steps that you actually require, what are the documents that you need to submit to CAAM. So a couple of things to highlight first is that you will require this form filled up, sent over to their email, and they want 14 days prior, at least 14 days prior to your launching date, and as well as 250 ringgit per use sent all the way to them. And they will take their sweet time to let you know if you are shortlisted and if you can have the green light to fly. That's crazy enough, but the craziness doesn't stop. So let's start with the form here. Let's look at what you actually need to fill up. So we're looking at this form here. You have the person particulars of the accountable manager. In this case, it will be me or you. And you basically have your full name, your IC. Now this is where it gets weird, because what if I don't have a company? What if I'm just a recreational flyer? I just bought this drone off Carousel and I just want to fly for fun. You can't. There's no way, because again, you need to put the name of the company, you need to have a registration number of the company, which in this case, no employee would be able to apply because they wouldn't know the company registration number. Needless to say, that's the first deterrent level already. Then we have postal address. Okay. Postal address, fine. A telephone number. Who uses fax number these days? And finally, the most important is your email. They will be sending you if you have been approved for flight via email. All right, now in section 3, this is where it gets pretty downright ridiculous. You wouldn't know all your specs in your iPhone if I were to ask you what phone do you have and what are the specs, right? But apparently, to get the permit done, you need to have, wow, this entire thing down in numerics. So for instance, let's start. The brand model name. This is the DJI Mavic 3. This is the DJI Mavic 2 Pro Zoom. Okay, we got that down. Type of UAS. This is a quadcopter. It has 4 propellers. This is also a quadcopter. It has 4 propellers. Go on to the UA product serial number. Let's see if I can actually find my serial number anywhere in my official drone that I've bought in 2018. Serial number. I've owned this drone for so long, even I have no idea where to find the serial number. If I am pretty correct, it might be this thing here. I'll put it up in the screen. But I might be wrong. Again, never done this. Never even need to do this in the first place. And in the next category, we look into CAAM UAS certification. Where to get? Wow. How to get? What is this? I don't even understand. So let's skip that. So we have the company, and now we have what we call MCMC label or serial number. The MCMC is like our multimedia agency that governs in whatever that's being recorded onto any media format, right? But why are they being involved in this? It's your drone. You pick whatever you want to shoot. Doesn't have to be regulated, but apparently now it does. And it gets worse in the list, right? So just bear with me a little bit. And then B, type of approval, certification of conformity, serial number. What kind of type of approval do you want? Do you want it to be like email? I have no idea what they want. C, special approval certificate. What the heck does that even mean? Number 2, individual. You have either MCMC label serial number. I don't know what that is. And then you have the special approval clearance. CL number. From who? From where? Not specific at all. How is anyone, the general public, going to gain access to these, even though people professionally doing this for a living can't even get this? I don't understand. So look, they wanted weight, length, wingspan, power source, flight duration, max, speed, all of this information. Again, you need to be a nerd like me to know all this. And then list the brands and models of all wireless transmitting devices used, including radio controller. So fortunate enough for me, everything is DJI. List the output power of each model. Let's see, what is the output model? PD. Wow, I've never actually had to look at this back before. Congratulations, CAAM. Now you force me to really stare at this just to copy paste this into the sheet to gain approval. Wow. So for power, it says 3850 milliampere at a 15.4 volt. And lastly, total numbers of unmanned aircraft used, 2 on my end. Okay, guys, we are just in page 3. So stick around. It's a pretty long video because I have 12 more pages to go. Okay, now next, risk assessment. The last time I did a risk assessment was during my FYP, my final year project for university. Now I need to do one for every flight. Fantastic, I'm going back to university, guys. The purpose of the risk assessment section is for the operator to consider all hazards which are possible during the intended UAS operation. Of course lah. So first off, you need location. So for location, it cannot be like just put Taman Connaught or what. You cannot. You need to literally put the time. Waktu bila? Pagi, waktu apa? 9 to 5 apparently. And you can be as gracious to block out from apparently what they say here 0101 to literally 14. So you can literally apply for 2 weeks of joining activity. Why? Why would what I put that down? Then you need the location, you need the time. Next, you need to study Google Map. They didn't let you off the hook. They really want you to know your zone. So in this section, so I'm gonna jump forward from literally at page 4. I'm going to jump over into section 5 at page 8. So in page 8, they have shown you a diagram of a rectangle in a rectangle in a rectangle. There's 3 colors in it. There's yellow, there's green, there's red. Oh no, there's 4 colors apparently. The last one is blue. And guess what? The green zone in the middle is where you tell them you're gonna be taking off your drone. And anytime your drone approaches to the yellow zone, that's something for you to notice that you are actually away from the green zone. Not too bad. Then it goes to the red zone, which is a bit further out. And then, hey, something is going on. It's very risky now. You're not flying in your zone that you have been plotted. And guess what? Red is not the final alarm for you, you know. Apparently, blue is the new red. Because now blue apparently is the literally hard line zone. It apparently is an emergency procedure only for you to be going into the blue zone, or else it is not prohibited for you to go there or even exceed there in the first place. So that's pretty much how they color coded for you in terms of your area of droning. And to make matters worse, right, to prove my point even more, right, this is the Google map, and they clearly have done their best to draw a perfect rectangle of where you're gonna fly your drone. So the green zone is basically where you can take off. The yellow is somewhat okay, but just be mindful you're away from green. Red is where you really have that risk of the drone, and blue is literally nowhere further than that. If not, you will get penalized for that. And look at this, they actually have longitude and latitude values plotted on every single point. That's crazy. They have the KMZ value for this, which is something I've never done in my whole entire life. You need to extract out this KMZ file. You need to go into Google, plot out again the 4 lines, green, yellow, red, blue, and then give them the KMZ file structure as well. Crazy. Oh. And guys, I'm actually pretty tired already, but I'm only now on like page 13, and I've also skipped a few pages also. But let's bear with us. Let's finish this. So we have a part C, personal list for the use of the UAS operation. So anybody who wants to touch my drone has their name here. If no one has their name here, I'm so sorry, you cannot touch my drone, okay? And now on page 14, submission checklist. Okay, what you actually need to submit together. First off, accountable manager details. Like what, my resume? Oh, identification card and company registration certificate. You see what I mean? If you are a regular person that just went out from DJI shop and you buy this for your kid just so you want to fly, you cannot. What company you want to do? You don't have a company, right? You're an employee. You don't have a company to do this. How are you going to get approval? There's literally no way you can get an approval to fly a drone. So does that mean in the future, nobody else can fly a drone? Or people who need to fly a drone need to have a social enterprise or sole prop? It could be that, you know? Crazy. All right. And then number 2, you need a CAAM approval certificate. I don't know where to get also. Third, MCMC only if applicable. So when is it applicable for MCMC? Let's see. So apparently here, if UAS requires apparatus assignment, apparatus assignment. Don't know what it is. Next, we look into step number 4. the JUPAM approval if required. So what is JUPAM? So JUPAM is also another layer, it's something like finesse as well. They actually govern a use of photography, like where and like what are your license, that you need to have before taking a photo. So next time, right, if you want to take photo on your phone, right, you also need to apply license. I won't be surprised because this is where JUPAM really is and they lie. The JUPAM only applies if your drone has another device attached here. Typically, we will attach a GPS or another like GoPro or whatever not. Then you need JUPAM. If you're just flying it like this without any payload, forget about step 4. Step number 5, appointment letter or landowner permission. Oh, say, hey guys, I do a wedding one, and walao, to get the venue to say yes to it is not possible lah. Like sometimes we fly on the streets, we want to take a stock footage for YouTube, we want to show KL street. Which approval? Federal. Bamantana. Slowly wait, you're gonna get the approval. Yeah, cannot ma, right? Like unless if it's my own house, then I can clearly sign off lah. But how? Like this is not possible. Like not everybody here does TVC productions. Like people like me also, we shoot like weddings lah or sometimes recreational stuff. It's impossible to get this kind of things, And then number 6. They want to rub ego on you. They want to see whether you really know what you're doing. So the pilot itself must have competency evidence. So what kind of competency? You show your screenshot of your DJI app, how many hours of flight you have, I assume, to then judge your competency level. You need your IC or your passport. And in step number 7, you need a KML or KMZ file. So the KML or KMZ file is basically you going to Google Earth, plotting the red, the green, the yellow, and the blue zones, and then getting out the longitude, latitude, and just pass up to them. And the last one is the UAS user manual or specification brochure. What is this? I don't even know where to get that. So with this in mind, there is 2 asterisk forms down below. You're almost there. One of it, they give you the email, which you can now send your application. But to process it also, right, you need to pay full payment also. So you need to pay 250 ringgit into their account via... They even put a QR payment here as well, so I don't know where. So you need to pay them 250 ringgit as well as send everything into the email 14 days minimum before your flight. Overall, this is a very lengthy video and now we've successfully done 15 pages of application. What do I see in the future of filmmaking or drone in Malaysia? It's very tough and I don't see a possible future in it. I wouldn't think anyone of the mass public would do this, nor in professional platform like myself when I do this for a living. No customers can really underlying value the kind of like 3-4 second footage that you take of it, of the event, you know what I mean? In the end of the day, drones are used as supplementary. The camera still needs to roll. You can't be shooting everything on a drone. If you can, then the video looks very weird because it's always on the air. So essentially, right, the professional side of me is also saying like, because drones are only like 3-5 seconds and only like a split few scenes, right, it seems like I will not be pursuing this. I won't even be pushing my customers to say this. If they need a drone, it almost seems like I'm putting on a condom and said, you need to pay this amount and I need to do all this paperwork. I have to mark up my price. I'm going to have to charge you 400 ringgit to process this. And then I have to charge you my daily rates for the rental of a drone. I don't see the future of this. I really think that CAAM has spent years trying to hide the enforcement of this until they couldn't, and they released its enforcement this year. I believe that it's also a way for them to collect tax money because it's, again, per user. Every time I switch on this drone and fly, I need to pay 250 ringgit. That's insane amount of money and 2 weeks to apply. That's crazy lah. Like I really doubt that this will be taken well by the general public, nor do the drone suppliers or any camera shops selling drones. This will take a big hit into those drone sales for sure, but this also puts up a new layer of company that specializes in drone aerial photography and videography which now can charge higher because again, you need these proper documentations. So with this in mind, thank you so much for watching. I hope that I've clarified as much as possible in terms of this new enforcement that have just bestowed upon us upon years and years of lingeringness from CAAM, and not a good sign. I don't pretty much like what this is going, and would you like to buy my drone?